We are coming to you live from the broadcasting house here in the county of Nairobi. Good afternoon. This is KBC Lunchtime News on this 30th day of March 2022. My name is Njue, and Anwangeshi will be a sign language interpreter for this live newscast. Of course, you can be part of this conversation through our social media spaces. We are live. To the news now. We begin with security matters, where residents of Madogo, Tana River County are decrying the increased rate of crime, calling on security agencies to urgently root out a local criminal gang that has been causing havoc in the area. Speaking during the inauguration of the newly created Mbangale sub-county area, Member of Parliament Ali Wario called on the community leaders and the general public to work with the police to ensure the gang that has been giving residents sleepless nights is apprehended.
Residents in Madogo, Tana River County are a worried lot following the emergence of a criminal gang famously known as Kayole. According to the residents, the gang is operating freely and causing mayhem with impunity.
Wiki iliyopita maaskari wametoka ndani ya station ya Madogo kwenda kushika kijana ambaye amefanya uhalifu. Baada ya maaskari kutokea pale, kijana amevalishwa pingu mkono moja. Wenyeji wameamka pale, wamepiga nduru, wamempokonya ule mhalifu, polisi wasiende na yeye.
Zile wizara ambazo zinahitajika kukaa katika sub county tunaomba tuletea kwa haraka, hasa wizara inayopeana vitambulisho na pamoja na pana birth certificate na death certificate. Tukishapata Madogo, tunajua ile ingine zile wizara ambapo ziko katika sub county zitakuja polepole.
During the inauguration of the newly created Mbangale sub-county, Area Member of Parliament Ali Wario called on the residents with any information about the suspects to alert the police so that the culprits can be brought to book.
Hawa watoto tunawajua, wale wa Orma tunawajua, wale wa Njue tunawajua, wale wa Ilwana tunawajua. If we are not sincere in this problem, we cannot solve this problem. Lazima tuwe ukweli, tuseme ni mtoto wa fulani na fulani, sheria idili.
Tana River County Commissioner Thomas Sangei, who oversaw installation of Deputy County Commissioner, tasked the new team to work hard and restore peace in Madogo within the shortest time possible.
Kwa hivyo sisi tutawachia wale ambao wako na wazee na jamii pana ya Madogo ili muweze kutatua hilo swala. Na msiruhusu ugonjwa ukue. Nasikia kanza ikifika stage 4 kumponya ni ngumu.
Timothy Kipnosu for Lunchtime News.
And still on security matters, dozens of donkey owners in Kitengela, Kajiado County are protesting against the rampant theft and killing of donkeys occurring in the area. They have condemned the area police for laxity that now puts residents at risk of consuming donkey meat.
Na hii punda imechinjwa ni yangu, na in fact sina raha hata kabisa. Na si mara ya kwanza hizi punda zimekuwa zikichinjwa. Kwanza kitu na nyuma yangu imechinjwa 5 ya asubuhi kwa kiwanja nje opposite na serikali, na tunapanga na security.
Kuna machungu mengi sana kwa sababu ya mdozi wetu mwenye ametuacha. Huu ni mdozi anakuliwa kwake, analipa nyumba na kila kitu. Alikuwa analisha familia, watoto kusoma na kila kitu. Tunaomba na tunalilia haki yetu iko wapi? Imekuwa sasa hata hatuna haki. Sasa jamaa mdozi wetu alichinjwa. Dai tuliomba na tumeandamana.
And from Kitengela, we head down to the coastal county in number 005, that is the great county of Lamu. And today, in our weekly news feature, County Fact File, the focus is on Lamu County.
Lamu County is located in the northern coast of Kenya and is one of the 6 coastal counties in Kenya. The county headquarters are in Lamu Town. The county borders Tana River County in the southwest, Garissa County to the north, Republic of Somalia to the northeast, and the Indian Ocean to the south. The county is made up of cosmopolitan population composed of indigenous communities of Swahili, Arab, Koreni, Boni, Ofma, and migrant communities from the rest of the country. The county has a total population of 143,920, of which 76,103 are males, 67,813 females, and 4 intersex persons according to the 2019 census. There are 37,963 households with an average household size of 3.7 persons and a population density of 23 people per square kilometer. The county has a land surface of 6,273.1 kilometers squared that include the mainland and over 65 islands that form the Lamu archipelago. The total length of the coastline is 130 kilometers, while land water mass area stands at 308 square kilometers. The county has 2 constituencies, namely Lamu West with 51,542 registered voters and Lamu East with 18,834 voters as per the 2017 IEBC register. There are 10 electoral wards, 23 locations and 38 sub-locations in the county. The main economic activities in the county include crop production, livestock production, fisheries, tourism and mining. Fahim Yassin Twaha is the second governor after taking over from Isa Timami.
Lamu to Migori, where boda riders from Migori County have turned up in large numbers at the Huduma centers in the region for the ongoing nationwide fresh boda registration that kicked off on Monday. Migori County Commissioner Meru Mwangi says so far they have registered 500 boda operators. The registration exercise will run for 60 working days and is expected to end on June the 24th.
With the fresh registrations of boda operators continuing to gain momentum across the country, Migori County targets to enlist 15,000 riders. Migori County Commissioner Meru Mwangi said that so far they have registered only 2.5% of the operators. At the same time, Mwangi urged operators to turn out in their numbers as the government has already waived the 5,800 shillings fee. Boda operators seeking registration must present their original national identification card and the Kenya Revenue Authority PIN.
Kuanzia jana tunaona kama shughuli inaenda hapa Huduma. Inaenda hapa Huduma, kila mtu anaenda na ID na KRP. Hiyo vitu mbili tu ambao kama umeshaenda wanakuregister, alafu hiyo leseni yako itakuja baadaye siku 5.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Brian Mwindi.
And at about 7 minutes past the hour, we are taking a quick breather, but don't go away. We still have more news, not forgetting business and sports.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Why are you leaving? Trust me, she's harmless.
Oh.
Do not hurt that girl.
When ni nani?
You don't feel the connection here.
I'd hate to lose you as a client.
They say eyes don't lie.
Get out.
Wewe, kama wanakusikia hapo. Fungua manipile na hii mlango.
Nikifungua natafuta ndio replace.
Mimi hiyo hainihusu. Hebu songa nipite. Soga. Get out. Nani anataka mwasaliti kwa nyumba yake?
Mwongo mmoja umekamilika. Twarejea kwa udi na uvumba.
kwa vishindo si haba.
Speak English.
Nderemo na vifijo. Tulia tuli. Maana mambo si kama kawaida tena. Kwani kupitia runinga yako ya KBC ushapata tarehe. Vitimbi hivi karibuni.
Uoni kama kuna umuhimu wa kunishauri?
Mimi ningefanya hivyo najua hatungeelewana.
Mambo gani yanaharibika? Unajua mimi hizi haraka zako mimi sizipendi.
Hawa watu watatumaliza.
Samahani, siwezi kukuambia. Maana sitaki tudhuru kivyovyote vile. Sasa ulikuwa nitia nini hapa?
Kijana, mbona una haya hivyo? Ni wa wapi lakini wewe?
Lakini chunga sana ni nani unayeamua kumzibia siri.
Welcome back and thanks for keeping it KBC. Moving on, the Ministry of Agriculture will buy off factory loans owed to tea factories in a bid to reduce their debt burden, which is slowing their operations. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says the Kenya Tea Development Agency will also be paying tea bonuses on a quarterly basis to more than 600,000 farmers who deliver their green leaf tea to KTDA-affiliated factories.
In early March, the agency released a 3 billion shilling mini bonus payout to farmers after preliminary results showed factories were grappling with debts. The Ministry of Agriculture now says it is working on ways to restructure or pay off the debt and reduce the debt burden on tea farmers. Munya says the debt is owed by thousands of farmers who borrowed from KTDA lending arm Greenland Feather Limited, which in the past has been accused of exploiting tea farmers by charging them exploitative interest rates.
Those forensic audits will inform us on what needs to be done at the factory level to see loopholes where that make farmers lose money, and also improve on management and efficiency at the local level. At the same time, they also tell us what we need to do to restructure KTD at the national level.
Speaking at Gaduthi Tea Factory in Njue County, Munya says the move will ensure value addition for their crop and improve its position in the global market. He, however, notes the reform agenda initiated by the government is still facing major hurdles due to numerous court cases filed by various entities.
We have done quite well in terms of changing the tea sector, restructuring it, giving autonomy to the factories to have a say, but we are not there yet. We may be there in terms of increased earnings, but we think we can even increase the earnings even more if we deal with some of the local issues and some of the national issues.
Setting up a minimum reserve price for processed tea, which is meant to shield the farmers from the fluctuating prices at the Mombasa tea auction. Hibak Saeed for Lunchtime News.
Let's now shift gears to matters politics, where the Orange Democratic Movement will subject aspirants in Kilifi County to nominations after the hopefuls failed to reach a consensus on who should be handed the party's tickets. A section of aspirants argue that it's only through universal suffrage that Kilifi County can get the leadership they deserve.
Efforts by the Orange Democratic Movement National Elections Board to convince the aspirants in Kilifi to agree on suitable candidates have hit a snag. Kilifi gubernatorial aspirants are among those who disagreed with the move to reach a consensus.
Tunaangaliana na tunapimana sisi wenyewe kwa wenyewe
ili tuone kwamba mmoja wetu akichukua ni yupi ambaye ataongoza hii Kilifi aweze kuihakikisha kwamba itakuwa katika kipaumbele,
kwa sababu kama hakuna consensus ni kumaanisha kwamba watu wako tayari kwenda mashinani kushindana, na kushindana pia ni njia moja ya demokrasia ya Kenya.
Ndio ulikuwa mzuri, kila mtu amehamasishwa vilivyo kuhusu mchujo ama nominations ile zitafanyika tarehe 4, na kila mtu ajitayarishe kwa mchujo. Kama kutakuwa na maongezi kama wenzangu walivyoongea, tutatoa mwelekeo.
Elsewhere, residents of Mkomani Ward in Nyali constituency have raised a red flag over the planned ODM nominations in the ward. They have threatened to move to court to stop the exercise plan for April 6th, should they not be called for a meeting to straighten things out.
We are not consulted about the polling station, and that's why we are complaining. Not only me, even electors are complaining, because some people are juakali. Mama mboga yuko hapa, anataka aenda piga kura yake, akisapiga kura yake rudi kwa kasi yake. From here to polling station is very far. What about logistic when they are looking about that thing?
Fadhali consult my candidate, tusipoteze hizi viti. Watu wafanye nomination ya haki and fair. Lakini kama utakosea kidogo, hivi viti vinaweza kukosea, vinaweza kupotea.
Meanwhile, leaders from Samburu County have promised Azimio la Umoja flag bearer Raila Odinga of their support and help his campaign to a victory in this year's general election. The leaders from KANU and Jubilee political parties made the assurance as they launched the Azimio la Umoja office in Maralal Town, Samburu County.
Kama viongozi wa Samburu County tunataka kuhakikishia Raila Amolo Odinga kwamba tuko nyuma yake. Sisi tutamchapia campaign mpaka akuwe rais wa 5 wa Jamhuri ya Kenya.
Hapa ndio hii chama naitwa Azimio ndio jenga serikali. Msijipoteze watu wetu ambao wale hawako hapa. Tunajua wengi wanafuata hiyo, lakini wale wachache ambao wanaenda kando elezeni yao kwamba serikali iko hapa. Sisi
In the section of religious leaders in Embu under the auspices of National Council of Churches NCSK have asked the president and his deputy to tone down on their public's part to build a tolerant society.
We are urging the two leaders to find a better way of sorting out their issues and their differences, for it's only when they sort out their differences amicably and peacefully that we shall also learn from them. The other leaders many other leaders who are under them and would want to copy their style of either talking or doing things.
And away from that, bodies of 4 relatives of Nairobi County Assembly Majority Leader Abdi Guyo, who perished in a road crash in Mailisaba area along the Isiolo-Nanyuki Highway, have been laid to rest at the Chechelesi Muslim Cemetery. Guyo's brother Hassan Ibrahim Sora, Hassan's wife Fatuma Hassan, and their 2 daughters Talasa Hassan and Jamila Hassan were on their way to Isiolo from Nairobi when the car they were traveling in veered off the road and rammed into a fence, killing them on the spot. The accident happened just 2 days after Guyo accepted to take the baton from Governor Mohamed Kuti and become the new Sakuya community kingpin. The Nairobi County Assembly Majority Leader is seeking the Isiolo gubernatorial seat on a Jubilee party ticket.
Kwa hivyo kwa niaba ya watoto wa Africa Muslim Agency ama ambayo kwamba walikuwa mjini wa Nyeri, tulianza pamoja na wapa pole familia ambayo kwamba imeondokewa na wapendwa wao, na tunamuombea ambaye kwamba amebaki, ambaye kwamba ndiyo Guyo, ambaye kwamba alikuwa ndiyo anaongoza upande wa Nairobi na nasikia amehamia hapa. Inshallah watu wa Isiolo na waomba muweze kumrudishia zawadi ya hii msiba ambaye kwamba imetupata kwa kumpatia hiyo kiti ambaye kwamba anatafuta inshallah. Mwenyezi Mungu tunamuomba ambaye kwamba ameichukua hii familia ambaye kwamba ni wakati tunakaribia kuingia katika mwezi mtukufu wa Ramadhani. Hii ni zawadi kutoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu.
Rafiki wangu wa dhati na rafiki wa karibu yangu ni kuleta pole na rambirambi zangu kwa wakati mgumu. Tunajua kwamba tulikuwa katika ile hali ya kuanza kujipanga hali ya kisiasa, but Mungu aliona ni vema na tuwezi uliza swali lolote.
And may their souls rest in peace. Elsewhere, residents of Chamari location in Magarini, Kilifi County have urged the National Assembly to speed up the processing of a land petition they filed against the Agricultural Development Authority, ADC, which they say has taken too long. The residents say they may be forced to seek legal redress should legislators fail to listen to their pleas.
Residents of Chamari are accusing Parliament of dragging its feet in addressing their cries of a land injustice.
Cha kushangaza ni kwamba tuling'ang'ana kufanya maandamano, kutembelea hizo maeneo, kuonyesha watu wa Lands Commission kwamba mipaka ya ADC na jamii ni hii. Hatua nyingi tulipiga kama jamii, lakini mpaka leo haijakuwa.
The residents say the long-standing dispute has left them on the edge, demanding a speedy resolution to the problem.
Kila mwanamuke naye kama hata ni tati wapate ile maekazi, walime, watupatie mbegu, serikali watushike mkono, kisha watoto wetu wakimaliza kusoma wachukuliwe ili tujulikane, maana sisi tumeonewa.
The locals are locked in a dispute with the Agricultural Development Corporation, with the former accusing the latter of breaching boundaries. Meanwhile, the government has suspended all land transactions in the disturbed areas of Iftin, Waberi West and East location in Garissa town. The move is part of recommendations reached during a clan elders meeting convened by the NCRC in liaison with the office of the regional commissioner held at the government guest house in Garissa town.
There is a cartel that has been dealing with land, either selling or assisting to do construction. From this moment, we are issuing a warning that we will not allow this.
Northeastern Regional Commissioner James Kienda said the government will seize and ensure that there is cessation of all forms of land transactions forthwith.
The national government and the county government in the future are going to come together and lift that ban that this is going to happen going forward.
The elders were very clear that for the politicians to be trusted, they must move from Nairobi and come to the ground and preach the message of peace together.
NCIC Commissioner Sam Corney said the Commission is committed to the development of a roadmap that will fast-track the peace process in Garissa. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
And away from that, the National Council of Churches of Kenya, NCCK, has urged the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to facilitate civic education, especially among the youth. The council argues that not much has been done in sensitizing the youths, even as the country races up to general elections in August.
Speaking in Kiambu in a meeting that brought together members from 32 different churches across the county, the clergy called for enhanced civic education among the youth, whom they say are often misused by politicians to cause unrest. They said civic education will go a long way in ensuring a peaceful environment during elections.
There is what we call voter apathy. There is also what we call incitement to violence. There is also the issues to do with our role as citizens to be engaged in proactive politics that will bring change and even educate members to be issue-based, not to be biased or maybe to go and become partisan without any valid reason.
Led by Reverend Simon Murigi, who is the chairman of NCCK Nairobi region, they said the church is a crucial stakeholder in the electioneering process.
We as church, we have not seen them on the ground, even bringing us together to be able to sell the agenda of conducting free and fair elections.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Zainab Said.
In other news, 3 days after the release of the 2021 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination results, the country continues to witness a jubilation and celebration of scorers. Safina Cheng Oma with details of how some candidates defied the odds to record good results.
It was joy and jubilation for two childhood friends at Bahati North Academy in Nakuru County, who emerged top scorers at the institution in the 2021 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations. Miriam Wanjiku, who attained 401 marks, and Irene Jelagat, who attained 406 marks, attribute their good performance to their commitment in their studies and support from teachers, friends and family.
In order to attain those marks, I was prayerful, self-driven and just sheer determination. To my teachers, I would like to thank them for their tireless efforts. They've been with us through thick and thin.
I am a very happy and proud father of having such a student.
The two, who have been desk mates since Standard 4 and cube mates, wish to join Kenya High School to mark the start of their journey into their dream careers.
I would like to be a pediatric neurosurgeon, and I would also like to attend Kenya High School. I would like to defend women and children out there who are wrongfully convicted due to their lack of knowledge of their rights and because they are poor.
As a head teacher, I think I'm going to form a group of teachers that will be somehow moving around in those schools to find out how they are doing and encourage them to continue.
And candidates in insecurity-prone areas in Baringo County beat the odds to record good marks in the KCPE exams. Kapindasum Primary, which was merged with Chemorongion Primary, had the first candidate scoring 367 marks, while the second scored 365, despite being affected by constant banditry attacks in the area.
Babangu alikuwa anaenda kuchunga, wakara wakafika, wakafahamia, wakachukua mfuko, alafu wakaua babangu. Hata kama hivyo tulifanya mtihani wetu, na kama si hivyo naamini ni kwamba ningefika 350 na ningempenda kwenda shule ya Tabakon High School.
Their celebration is however short-lived, as a majority of the affected families lack the financial muscle to support their children to join Form 1.
Tunauliza serikali kupitia zile maidara zingine kwamba hao wanafunzi wapewe national schools. Pia tunaomba zile taasisi zingine za serikali kwamba wale ambao wataitiwa Form 1, kama ni wale ambao wataenda national, wataenda provincial, ama ambao wale wataenda kwa mashule ambazo siko around here, wale wapewe bursaries kabisa full time.
Elsewhere, candidates in informal settlement schools in Mombasa County rose beyond poverty to join the list of the 2021 KCPE top scorers. Several candidates from Jomvu and Kisauni sub-counties scored 400 marks and above.
Our best performance had 407 and the rest all had 300 marks and above.
I'm really happy because I wanted to be among the top 10 in Kenya. But this is also nice because it's according to God's will and I can't change that.
Tunaweza wenye wako nyuma yangu wa work hard na wasivunjike moyo, na whatever marks watakuwa wanapata on their way, na waendelee tu kuamini ya kuwa watapata marks mazuri.
Na yeye akiwa mtoto mdogo kwangu na amekuwa wa kwanza, nimefurahi sana sana sana, hata sina lugha ya kusema.
Meanwhile, a section of teachers and stakeholders from private schools are calling for fairness in the Form 1 selection exercise. Speaking at Sheridan School in Kiganjo, Gatundu South constituency of Kiambu County, the stakeholders claim that in the last year's examinations, most candidates in the private institutions excelled but could not get a chance to join public secondary schools of their choice.
Ninawaomba muweze kuchagua shule kulingana na alama. Tusiwe na ubaguzi ya kwamba huyu ni mwanafunzi aliyetoka katika shule ya umma na huyu mwingine ametoka katika shule ya private. Kwa sababu hawa wanafunzi wote wameweza kushughulikiwa vilivyo, ndipo wakaweza kupata hiyo alama, hizo alama.
Their plea coming even as celebrations of top scorers in Kiambu County continue.
I achieved 405 marks. I can like to go to Mary Hill School and want to be a dentist. I got 400 marks in the KCPE examination. For me, I would like to join Kapsabet High School and also to be a biomedical engineer.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Safin Acheng Oma.
Le président.
Allah anaturidhia tumuabudu yeye, wala tusije tukamshirikisha na chochote. Wala ibada ismun jami'un likulli ma yuhibbuhu Allah.
Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam alitutahadharisha dhidi ya kutekeleza ibada za bid'a. Hivyo basi katika mwezi huu wa Shaaban tunapojitayarisha kuingia katika mwezi wa Ramadhan, tujikurubishe na Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kwa kutekeleza vitendo ambavyo vitatushikamanisha na ibada yake.
الكون يا أحبتي صنع يد الرحمن ممهد الأركان.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back, and let's proceed with the news, where a section of women aspirants, members of Chama cha Kazi, have raised concerns over the manner in which the party is conducting the primaries. They claim their rights to leadership position is being infringed on by the party in preference for other aspirants. Led by Wanjiro Maadai, an aspirant vying for Member of Parliament Kiambu Town, said despite having paid the requisite amount of 100,000 shillings as nomination fees, she was asked to step down even before the party primaries nominations are held.
As a woman and a youth, we were asked to pay a nomination fees of 100,000 shillings, which we paid, and which hundreds, I can assure you, hundreds have paid nomination fees. I even came with my receipt. It is here. And on top of that, we had been asked to pay 20,000 Kenya shillings as registration fees. And we were sure, in fact, we had been assured, like many people in other parties, that the nomination process is going to be free and fair. Without being subjected to a nomination process, he told me to step down. I'm a fighter. I will still go back to the people because the people have told me and they are here. Raundi hii hatuchagui chama, tunachagua nani? Raundi hii tunachagua mtu.
In other news, 3 shipping lines are under investigation by the COMESA Competition Commission for unfairly and colluding to increase freight charges. The commission says the charges have increased the cost of doing business in the region and the cost of goods.
3 major shipping lines have been flagged by COMESA for price signaling. The COMESA Competition Commission warns that violations of the agency's regulations by shipping lines could have a negative impact on consumers. This follows a move by 3 major shipping lines who allegedly colluded to raise the freight charges, a move considered as anti-competitive in the market.
So what we are investigating right now is that price signaling that leads to almost a uniform price, which is not a competitive price, and it is almost always certain that it's not to the benefit of the consumer. In the long run, they increase the cost of production because those people who are using those ships if they're incurring those high prices, which should not have been the case if the price signaling was not there. It is the case that they also pass on that cost to the consumer, and by the time the product finishes the value chain before it reaches the final consumer, it would have been a very exorbitant price, which is not good for the consumer.
The shipping lines in question are under investigation for going against 2 regulations that prohibit agreements which may affect trade and arrangements between competitors.
Investors would always want to make investments in a region where there is certainty. So having unharmonized and fragmented and different approaches to the same situation, problem or principle simply discourages investors.
The shipping lines under investigation include Maersk, CMA CGM and United Africa Feeder Line. COMESA Competition Commission regulations Article 16 prohibits all agreements which may affect trade between member states or distortion of competition in the common market. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
Now, Family Bank Group has recorded a 131.6% growth in profit before tax to earn 3.3 billion shillings for the year ended 31st December 2021. The growth in earnings was largely driven by an increase in interest income, marginal growth in interest expenses and operating expenses, coupled with the reduction in the loan loss provision. Details of this and more in our corporate briefs.
Family Bank Group's total assets grew by 23% to close at 111.7 billion shillings, driven by net loans and advances, which expanded by 18.2% to 66.9 billion shillings. Customer deposits increased by 17% to 81.9 billion shillings. The group's operating expenses decreased by 2.8% to 7.5 billion shillings from 7.7 billion shillings, mainly driven by prudent management of operating costs and a reduction in loan loss provisions. Family Bank Chief Executive Officer Rebecca Mbithi said the overall growth demonstrates the group's resilience and recovery of customers from the COVID-19 pandemic effects. On the back of the strong performance, the directors have proposed 1.1 billion shillings, which is 83 cents per share dividend payout, subject to shareholders' approval.
Stayed at 400 million. This was
Elsewhere, Dimkes Sacco has recorded a 20.5% growth in assets to 2.11 billion shillings from the previous 1.75 billion shillings. The lender attributed its growth to technological innovations through their mobile platform. They say the platform enhanced financial inclusion that increased lending activities as the global economy opened up gradually. The lending institution recorded a revenue growth of 26.3% to 302.3 million shillings in 2021, up from 239.7 million shillings in 2020, which allowed for the uptake of new products such as e-loan and interest gained from other SACCO investments.
Made a significant stride on embracing technology for the safety of members' funds and convenience in transactions. Some of the key services adopted last year was the change of mobile app and USSD, and we wish to recognize the role played by our Mchepuka mobile platform in deepening financial inclusion The project overall goal is to increase access to finance for small and medium enterprises, those are the SMEs, through the rollout of an SME finance toolkit.
Finally, Martin Doom has partnered with artist Wahu Kagwe as they roll out a national anti-malaria campaign to reaffirm their commitment in the global fight against malaria in the country. The alliance was aimed at creating awareness on the ever-present threat malaria has had on the country as well as its impacts.
The brand is stepping up further in creating an awareness campaign that will run throughout the year, and in support of the great initiatives taken by the malaria division with the vision of minimizing or decreasing the malaria cases and death resultant of that.
There's a lot to be done towards the fight to end malaria. There's quite a lot, and like I said earlier, I think I'm more than glad to use my social platforms to raise awareness, especially as we move forward towards World Malaria Day, which is on the 25th of April.
And to more financial reports and results, Britam Holdings swung into the profit territory last year, posting 1 billion shillings in pre-tax profit after the insurer posted a pre-tax loss of 9.7 billion shillings in the year 2020. The company says the performance was supported by growth in premiums in its local and regional operations. Gross earned premiums and fund management fees went up by 12.8% to 32.5 billion shillings against 28.8 billion shillings posted in the year 2020. However, shareholders will not receive any dividend payout, as the insurer says the profit will be used to support its business growth.
Last year, Britam Holdings caused jitters in the market after it swung into the loss-making territory, posting 9.7 billion shillings after years of consistent growth. The company embarked on a painful business reorganization process that saw various positions declared redundant and the exit of its former chief executive, Tavaziva Mazinga, and other top executives. The company now says it has swung back to the profitability path, posting 1 billion shillings in pre-tax profit.
Yeah, so we've seen a very good turnaround from a loss of 9 billion last year to a profit of 1 billion this year, which has largely been driven by an improvement in the top line growth of 15.8%.
The company says regional businesses recorded a total gross earned premium of 8.1 billion shillings, which is a growth of 3.3% from 7.1 billion shillings recorded in the financial year 2020. The group's investment income in the year was 10.9 billion shillings, representing a 15.7% growth compared to 9.4 billion shillings recorded in the previous financial year. Britain's Group Chairman Kuria Mushiro says the growth in investment income was driven mainly by the continuing shift of the group's investment strategy. The company is leveraging on strategic partnerships to drive its customer base and increase access to insurance services.
We find it more prudent to reinvest the capital and the profits that you have made and allocate that towards the growth and the realization of this strategy.
O'Brien Kiman for Business, Lunchtime News.
Now, Kenya is exploring new sources for products imported from Russia and Ukraine, or markets for goods exported there, as the war between the two countries affect the supply chain. Central Bank of Kenya Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge says since tensions erupted between the two neighboring European countries, the volume of trade has drastically reduced.
The war in Eastern Europe has seen prices of basic commodities increase both locally and globally, further putting pressure on the cost of living. The government is exploring other markets for local products, while also sourcing for imports from other countries in light of the escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine, to ensure it does not adversely affect the economy.
But I think the point here is that it's not in every single commodity, and that's why you can say even though the CPI is at the inflation as measured by the CPI was at 5.1, it does appreciate that, we do appreciate that there could be specific prices that are much higher, and it may.
Central Bank Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge says although the two nations are Kenya's main source for wheat and edible oils, there are plans to source the two commodities from other nations to stabilize prices. However, CBK expects the war to reduce Kenya tourism earnings, as some Ukraine chartered flights to Kenya have been cancelled.
They had already had some charter flights that were coming into Mombasa from the Ukraine. Now, all those prospects have been put on hold, understandably so.
The central bank expects that the onset of the long rains will help lower the cost of living through reduced food prices. Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
And across borders, South Africa's unemployment rate rose to a new record high of 35.3% in the fourth quarter of 2020 from 34.9% in the third quarter due to job losses mainly in the manufacturing and construction. Statistics South Africa said the number of unemployed totaled 8 million people in the October-December period, compared with 7.643 million people in the previous 3 months. Here are the details. Here are those details and other news making headlines from across Africa.
The rate was the highest since the quarterly labor force survey began in 2008, according to an expanded definition of unemployment that includes those discouraged from seeking work. 46.2% of the labor force was without work in the fourth quarter, from 46.6% in the third quarter. Job losses in the fourth quarter were concentrated in manufacturing, which lost 85,000 jobs, and construction, which shed 25,000 jobs. On the other hand, private households, trade, as well as community and social services had recorded job gains. The COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated South Africa's labor market woes last year. Before the pandemic, the economy was already suffering from high levels of joblessness as problems such as persistent electricity cuts choked growth, contributing to poverty and inequality. Meanwhile, the European Union plans to lend Tunisia $500 million to support its budget and invest 4 billion euros in the coming years as the North African country seeks international help to address a looming crisis in public finances. Speaking after a meeting with Tunisian government officials, the EU Commissioner said the loan would be sent by April and included 300 million euros allocated last year. Tunisia's public finances were already stretched before the pandemic, and political turmoil since President Kais Saied suspended parliament and moved to one-man rule last year had delayed efforts to seek additional help. Finally, Egypt's two biggest state banks have sold 303 billion Egyptian pounds in special certificates of deposit they introduced last week at a yield of 18%. The one-year CD sold by the National Bank of Egypt and Bank Misr were designed in part to soak up excess liquidity in the economy and dampen inflation after the central bank allowed the Egyptian pound to slide by 14% against the dollar on March 21st. The currency had been mostly unchanged against the dollar since November 2020. But concerns about an imminent hike in U.S. interest rates caused investors to pull billions of dollars out of Egyptian treasuries, bankers and economists said.
And now some good news to you, the viewer. To enhance your viewership, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, has received an assortment of broadcast equipment worth 36.87 million shillings from MultiChoice Kenya. KBC Acting Managing Director Samuel Maina said the equipment would go a long way in improving broadcast and service delivery by the national broadcaster. Maina said the national broadcaster has commissioned its engineers to audit KBC network in efforts aimed at ensuring that the signal network is improved. MultiChoice Kenya MD Nancy Matimu said her company is ready to support KBC to offer top-notch broadcasting services.
In our quest to improve the picture and the sound quality of KBC, in recent past, we have upgraded the video and audio formats to achieve overall HD signal for content management and transmission. As part of improvement process, KBC has been in partnership with MultiChoice Kenya, which has acquired modern broadcasting facility to aid in the achievement of more efficient content and news management process. Equipment include media asset management system, that will transform our business processes from content ingest, content editing, storage, transmission, and archive.
Main agenda really is for us to present the equipment that we have donated, which is a good size of equipment, valued at over $300,000 as we sit, which is the equivalent of about 30 million shillings, 36 million shillings. So it's a sizable piece of equipment for the specific studio that you want to build. We want to be, as much as possible, your good partner in helping you not only deploy the equipment, but also sort of upscale your studios to bring them to the world standard that we see in the multi-choice studios as much as we can.
We have mastered the art of systems integration and transmission and offer high quality
And Rotich, thank you for the information as well. You say you were watching. Indeed, that's all the time we had for KBC Lunchtime News. And speaking of time, remember it's precious and make sure you spend it with the right people. My name is Ben Troy Njue, and Anne Wange, she has been our sign language interpreter for this live newscast. You can follow on our social media platform or even on our KBC website, that is www.kbc.cu.ke. More news in our subsequent bulletin. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.